Hey, all right, what guys? We are live. How's my video, YouTube? I'm trying out a new camera. Looks a little rusty on the screen, but we'll see how it goes. So, live on Instagram also, it's been a while. I was banned from going live on Instagram for, I think it's been like 6 weeks or something, but looks like I'm just back on Instagram now, so that's great. So, how's everybody doing out there? Welcome my brothers and sisters from around the world. So today I'm going to be talking about escaping the matrix and systems of control that many of us are living in, and exactly what that means, and how semen retention and cultivating your sexual energy is a large part of this. So, hey guys on YouTube, can you hear me all right? All right, sweet. So we live in a matrix. We are conditioned and brought up to, live in a certain belief system, have certain views about what history is, right? What our world is. And a lot of these things that we've been brought to believe are complete lies. We've been brought into the system that is controlled by an elite few who have literally created every program that we're living in to place us at the bottom of this pyramidal scheme, right? We live in a debt-based money system. Our food is poisoned, our water is poisoned, our air is poisoned. We're so bombarded with stressful information from news and media that most people don't have the time to sit down and think clearly, think for themselves. And our schooling system is based on memorizing facts, regurgitating information, basically, right? Our entire schooling system is based on, we kind of have facts shoved down our throats, and we have to test for these facts to make sure that we remember them, make sure we memorize these, these facts, right? And we just accept things as they are. That's kind of how we're conditioned as we brought up through our schooling system. And once we get into our adult years, we think that we know everything, and we start to regurgitate these facts that, we were required to test for. And so basically we become experts at regurgitating information, and we become very rigid in our beliefs because we think we know everything, because that's what we were told in our upbringing. That's how things are, right? And the trouble with this is that, well, a lot of people get in these rigid patterns of belief systems, like, well, this is what I was taught, therefore this is how the world is. And, and as I was saying, things are not as we were led to believe. The system we live in is not what we were led to believe it is. It's a slave system. And so, for example, we could take everything that's happening in the world right now as a perfect example of this. Everything that you're seeing on the news is completely contrived. It's not news anymore. It's fake. It's completely fake. It's literally contrived to make you feel fear, to make you feel panic, to make you feel anxiety. And it's working really well, right? Just judged on how people are reacting to it. So, and the question is why? You can definitely know for certain that whenever fear is being presented to you, whenever information is coming at you and it's out of a place of fear, that someone is trying to control you. This is the dark side influence, always controlling and manipulating with fear. So if you start to act on fear, you can be sure that you are going down that slippery slope in your own life. When you act out of fear, you create more fear, your vibration lowers, and you live in this state of constant fear. And so, again, that's what happens when your whole worldview is coming from CNN and mass media, which, if you look up where the money's coming from, for these corporations who are presenting information, they have an agenda, basically, right? All the stuff going on about the virus, so much of it's completely fake. The numbers are fake. The actual death percentage is about 0.2%. It's less deadly than the flu statistically. So what we're seeing now is a plan that's been coming into action over years and years. I've been following this for a long time, going down deep rabbit holes of the elites controlling this planet, a lot of the agendas being put in place, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, but fortunately there's forces that are working against things. It's not working because people are waking up, people understand what's happening, and we're going through this massive transformation on the planet right now. our vibration is raising. The energy of the planet is raising. If you pay attention to the Schumann resonance, which is basically the heartbeat of the earth, has a direct effect on our brain state. It's been going like in the past week, it went up to 70 hertz. The normal Schumann resonance is about 7 hertz. So these huge peaks on the Earth's energy body that we are directly tapping into. So we're riding the waves of greatly enhanced energy. Basically, we're in an awakening time, right? The walls, the veil between dimensions is becoming very thin. Things are manifesting on different levels. So whatever you're focusing on right now is manifesting in your life. Again, this goes back to whether you act on fear or whether you act on inspiration, love, and joy, right? Are you buying into the fearful agendas? Are you living in a state of fear and stress and making decisions based on that? Constricting yourself, cutting off your connection to the life force, lowering your vibration. Fear puts you in a low vibrational state. It's always the dark side tool, because when you're in a low vibrational state, you are easily influenced by other people's thoughts, other people's agendas. And I think an important thing to talk about here as well is this idea of polarity. As adults, we become very, very polarized. So the Taoists talk about yuan qi. Yuan qi is the neutral force. You know, we're familiar with yin and yang, but yuan is the neutral force. It's neither positive or negative. It's kind of lubricating that polarity, that positive neutral relationship. When we're children, we have an abundance of yuan qi. When we're young, we have this abundance of yuan qi and this neutral energy, which is why we feel so balanced. We feel so joyful and playful when we're kids. We're not so rigid into opinions and beliefs. We just want to play. We just want to experience the life force. We're in the present moment. And as we age, this yuan qi starts to, we lose it basically. We become more polarized. We become very yin or very yang. And we always start to be on one side of an issue. We have no room for polarity. So again, we get into these rigid patterns of I believe this, you believe that, therefore you're wrong, I'm right. So you're always in a war. You're always in a battle. When you're able to cultivate this yuan qi in your life, this neutral space, you're able to see things a little more clearly, a little more objectively. And so this is useful because it's a lot easier to see, you know, kind of the hidden motives behind a lot of the agendas that are being played out on this planet. And so when you're able to cultivate that space of neutrality, you have a much clearer perception of things that are going on. So basically what I'm trying to share, what I'm trying to encourage you guys to do is to become your own master. Learn to think for yourself. Learn to question the information that's coming at you. Okay, is this coming from a place of fear and control, or is this actually out to serve me? Does someone actually have my highest interest, or is this all a control scheme? So the light is being brightened at this time, and a lot of the shadows on the planet are coming out, and we're in for quite a ride, but it's okay. Everything's great. This is the time to go within. This is the time to have a strong daily meditation practice, do breathwork practice, go out and spend time in nature. You know, if you've been quarantined for months, you know, if you're on unemployment, stuck in your house, get outside, get into nature. This is the time to expand yourself. This is the time to do your inner work. Learn more about yourself, learn more about your potential, and use this as an opportunity to transform yourself, to balance, to peace, and to prosperity. This is what's really going to make the difference at this time, is whether or not you have a center within yourself, whether or not you know how to keep yourself balanced by internal practice. No one else can do this for you. This is the problem with the common problem in this world, is that we grow up in this false earth society. False earth meaning that we identify with external things solely. We primarily rely on these external things to fulfill ourselves. And in our modern world, these are often technological things. I need my television. I need my iPhone. You know, I need my nice car. We need these external things, and we have nothing within us. Therefore, when these things are removed from us, we have nothing. We're out of our center. So when you do these internal practices, internal qi cultivation, cultivate your life force, grow your qi, develop it, and then you develop your center. You become very centered, very strong, and it doesn't matter what's happening in the external world, because your internal world is strong. You've cultivated your qi. You have the life force within you. You don't need to go outside and get it. You're fulfilled. You're overflowing and putting out this energy into the field around you. So people who are doing this work, people who are doing the inner work are thriving right now because the energy in this world right now is absolutely phenomenal. It's off the scale. Again, the Schumann resonance has just been going insane. But people who are disconnected from their internal world, who rely on the external world, are feeling very, very out of balance because, again, there's all this fearful information coming at them. The whole world is transforming. It's never going to be the same. And so it's causing a lot of fear, a lot of panic in people because, again, they have no internal reference point to stay grounded and centered in. So when you do these internal practices, cultivate your chi, meditate, connect with nature, you become a master of your internal state. Therefore, whatever's happening out there will not affect you. And you're no longer easily persuaded by people's fear-based agendas, control systems. So this is very, very important at this time. This is what's going to basically, what's going to lead to our future is either people being in their center, acting out of love, of joy, of inspiration, or people surrendering to their fear, letting someone else make decisions for them. And we get into this, totalitarian AI-driven nightmare world, or we can live in paradise, allow the free energy technology to come out, and we have all the tools to thrive as a species on Earth. That there's no reason for us to be without, for every single person in the world to have clean food, clean water, shelter, abundance. But the fact is that the select few on the planet have taken all this technology and hidden it from us. Anyone who develops free technology suspiciously dies, or they get bought out. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there's these power structures in place that are actually crumbling right now. Behind the scenes, everything is falling apart, and it's very, very exciting, but it looks very chaotic to us in our state. So just keep doing your internal work, spend time with nature, keep yourself balanced, cultivate your chi, and everything's going to be just fine. And for men, semen retention is a major part of this because a large part of this control system is the porn industry, which is driving men to ejaculate their life force every single day. You could think of the movie The Matrix, right? There's a scene where Neo awakens and he's looking around and seeing all these bodies in tubes, and they're just being fed off by the robots, right? Well, you can imagine that, but you see a guy in the tube jerking off to Pornhub. It's basically the equivalent of that. These men who are addicted to porn, they're feeding all these astral sex demons that are, it's a massive force on the planet, basically, right? This control of sexual energy and harvesting that sexual energy from people because they're addicted to these shallow outlets. So as a man, when you practice semen retention, you stop wasting your energy, you start cultivating it. Again, now you have more power within yourself to see the truth, more power to cultivate yourself, more power to manifest the life that you want. Literally change the world around you, because it's by changing yourself that the outside world starts to change and reflect that. So that's the message I want to share with you guys today. Do your practice, stay centered, and everything's gonna be great. It's an exciting time. All right, I'm gonna answer some questions. I was saying, good to be back on Instagram. I was banned for like 6 weeks, so it's good to be going live on Instagram again. Okay, supplements. Take multivitamin, zinc, vitamin D every day. What else should I get? Well, it depends what your body's lacking. Typically, a lot of people are deficient in B vitamins, so take a good B complex. If you have a lot of stress in your life, take some good, what's the word I'm looking for? Adaptogen herbs. A really great formula is a Chinese herb formula by Dragon Herbs. It's called Shou Wu formulation. It's a mixture of herbs to build your kidney yin, which most people are deficient in. If you're stressed out, if you're overworking, then you're tapping out your kidneys and your adrenals. So Shou Wu is a great formulation. Maca root is a great supplement. Moringa leaf, because it's like nature's multivitamin. But different supplements are good for different people. It depends. There's not one regimen that's going to fit everyone. What would you recommend if you're one of the people on Earth who's awakening and you're surrounded by people who are asleep? I mean, it's just how it goes when you're, a conscious being on this planet. As part of the role is to carry that light, to carry that higher consciousness, that high vibe. And the thing is that you can't try to wake everyone else up. You can't, try to grab your friends, shake them, and scream, "Hey, wake up! This is all bullshit. This is all fear porn. Like, this is all lies, basically, that your whole life is based on." It doesn't really work. People believe what they want to believe, and a lot of people are really tied up in the old paradigm, basically, right? All you can do is cultivate yourself. And the thing is it's really that 100th monkey effect. This is where scientists studied monkeys on this island, and they found that this one monkey started washing its potato in the water, and then another monkey did. After a certain amount of monkeys started doing this, all of a sudden, all the monkeys in the world were doing this. So every species has a consciousness grid around the planet. It's a geometrical consciousness grid. So when enough of them make this shift into higher consciousness, it transfers over to the whole grid. The whole group all of a sudden gets this upgrade. So same thing with us. So again, by anchoring that light, you're affecting the people around you, whether you're aware of it or not. It's like, what happens when you bring a candle into a room that's completely dark, completely black? It lights up the whole room. You only need a little bit of light to light up that dark room, right? So that's what's happening when you are living in an awakened person in this world. I know it's very lonely. It feels very isolated, but understand that you are doing important work, and that, again, you're actually raising the vibration of the area around you. And the thing is that instead of trying to, tell people what they should believe, you don't do that. You simply live your truth. And then people see, like, okay, everyone else is freaking out, but you're like happy, you're calm, you're radiating energy. Like, what are you doing? And that's when they start to get curious. So you don't, words are empty. Words can be empty and mean nothing, but it's your actions. It's the way you live, the way you hold yourself. It's your energy, your energetic state, the things you put out into the world. That's what really grabs people's attention and creates the shift. So trust me, I've tried many times to, spread information to people, and if they're not ready to hear it, they're not ready to hear it. Okay, can we release? Okay, so about ejaculation, can we release, or are we never to release unless trying to have kids? Urges come up. I know we shouldn't release every time, but denying every time doesn't seem healthy the right way. So for me, it's really a balance of extremes. I personally believe that ejaculating every day is an extreme. It's unbalancing. It's going to deplete your life force. But at the same time, for some people, never ever ejaculating is always never ever ejaculating is also an extreme, and they may get this rigid obsession with it. So a lot of the Taoist teachers, Mantak Chia says a man can ejaculate once a week, once every 2 weeks, if you really want to. So it's about finding the right cycle for yourself and not being rigid about it. It's not fun if you're just going to be rigid about it, but when you find the right balance, then it's effortless and it becomes a sustainable lifestyle. Will semen retention help you be able to perform the matrix lean back? I wish it did. I mean, if you combine it with some martial arts training and you're good. So talking seriously, does semen retention help with athletic performance? And if so, in what way? Definitely. There's lots of athletes who practice semen retention. Muhammad Ali, the boxer, he would go weeks without sex or masturbating before fights because he believed it really gave him that edge. There was a famous tennis player, I can't remember his name, but he practiced semen retention and felt that was an important part of his athletic ability. So again, when you practice semen retention, you build your yang essence, you build your hormones as well. Testosterone increases, a lot of these hormones, these masculine hormones increase. So that gives you an athletic edge versus ejaculating frequently. You have high prolactin levels, your neurotransmitters are burned out, you don't have the focus and the presence, that you would have otherwise. So I think it's very valuable for athletes to regulate their ejaculation. Okay, wet dreams. I saw a question. I've been watching your videos and trying to do deep breathing and circulate it, but I can't stop more than 1 week. So yeah, it's the thing is that when you're practicing retention, this energy builds up. And if you don't have the space in your body for it, and if you're not channeling it properly, then it becomes this pressure and you feel like you have to release it. This is natural, it's normal. But the key to being able to go longer and longer periods of time is to be able to release that pressure in other ways than ejaculating. So this is why working with the microcosmic orbit is so important. That should be one of your daily practices if you're doing semen retention, is moving that energy through the orbit, clears it up, refines it, spreads it throughout the body, releases that urge to release. Also, you need to be very productive in your life. This is the time to be an action taker. If you're just sitting on your couch all day watching Netflix and you're practicing semen retention, then again, that energy is building up. You're not putting it into anything, so it wants to leave your genitals. So keep yourself busy, keep yourself productive, learn new skills, develop yourself, take courses, constantly be growing and developing your abilities. It's very important when you're practicing semen retention. Otherwise, you are just going to have the urge to release it right away. All right, just answering questions, seeing what the questions are. By the way, I want to thank and congratulate over 100 men who joined my Multi-Orgasmic Man 6-week course. Really great group, awesome guys, and we're going through the course right now. Lots of life-changing transformations to come. It's always a very, very powerful process, so excited about that. Also, I'm launching my new Immortal Energy Arts Online Academy. Hopefully this month, or hopefully in the next month, hopefully in August. This is going to be an in-depth school on energy cultivation, becoming a Jedi, tapping into massive amounts of tangible chi flowing through your body. So I'll be announcing more about that soon, but very excited for that. How do I meditate? If I don't mind sharing. I practice many different meditation practices. I've been mostly practicing Neidan, which is Taoist internal alchemy. But basically, my meditation practice, it's a little different every day, but I always start with what's called mind fasting. This is a pretty common meditation method. Basically, you release all thoughts. So because as soon as you sit down and try to still your mind, all these thoughts start to come. With mind fasting, you don't feed those thoughts. It's kind of like flipping off a switch. Just empty the mind again, thought comes up, empty the mind. So I do this continuously until I'm in a very calm, clear state. And then I sink my breath down to the lower dantian. This is a Taoist meditation practice. Sink my breath down by observing the breath into the lower dantian. And then I just focus on the lower dantian until it starts to cook. It literally lights up, starts to feel hot and bubbly, my lower dantian. And then from there, I do various things. I may run the orbit. I may just sit in my lower dantian. The energy naturally starts to move itself. I may do some internal alchemy, combining internal male-female essences, yin and yang, to create that yuan qi neutral force and steam it through my body. So lots of different meditation practices, basically. Can too much energy build up without moving it and cause erectile dysfunction? I'm not completely sure about that. It could be if it's like a liver chi stagnance issue. I'm not a medical doctor. I can't make medical claims, but so, take my advice at your own risk, whatever. But it could potentially cause some stagnant liver chi. Liver is related to erections. It immobilizes the blood, the liver. It's like the action taker, right? So it could be some issues with that. If you're doing really long-term retention and you're not doing any exercises to keep your genitals healthy, massaging them, keeping the energy moving, then the endocrine system can start to atrophy, and that can cause, issues as well. So it's all about keeping things flowing. What would I recommend to someone who's very new to this lifestyle? Study material, courses, books. Well, my channel is a great resource on YouTube. I've got playlists on semen retention. I've got qigong exercises, breathwork exercises. I've got a lot of information. I have over 100 videos on, talking about sexual energy and different aspects of it. So definitely my YouTube. I also have a 6-week course where I teach in depth the sexual kung fu system of being able to clear negative emotions, clearing old habits, building your chi, building your energy, opening pathways to circulate your sexual energy through to have full body orgasms, non-ejaculatory orgasms, and have sex for hours if you want, basically. So, and as far as books and things, Montauk Chia has some great books. You know, Taoist Secrets of Love, which was Montauk Chia and Michael Wynn, who I studied with. That's a fantastic book. Yeah, there's not a lot of really, really good books on this stuff, though. Honestly, you know, I've read there's like a few good books, but there's not a lot. I'm planning on writing a book on this someday, but it's a huge project, so we'll see. Well, I just started the 6-week course, and the next round will be in October. Is there any recommended time frame before sex you should avoid eating so your performance isn't negatively affected? Yeah, so good question. You don't want to have sex on a really full stomach because the body's putting all this energy into digestion and it can't really give it its all to having sex. So I would recommend, it depends how good your metabolism is. It depends how heavy of a meal you ate. Basically, you don't want to feel full when you go to have sex or any sexual activity. So for me, it's, you know, I would wait at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. Do my techniques work for someone who is older and has not been sexually active? Yes, definitely. Because a lot of this work is about building your energy back up, and which is something that really benefits you if you're in old age. You know, I've had several older men who took the course. They loved it. You know, it improved their energy, improved their sexual ability. So definitely, this is fitting for men of all ages. Do I exercise lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences with meditation? I do lucid dream. I'm not really trying to get out of my body with meditation. You know, it's like I spent the first many years of my life trying to get out of my body. Now I'm trying to get more into my body, stay grounded, stay present, really cultivate, you know, chi in this body. But I do practice lucid dreaming, which is a really amazing practice. What exercises should we be doing daily to adopt semen retention lifestyle? Okay, good question. Okay, you said testicle breathing. Yes, testicle breathing is a great exercise. You want to do that daily. Physical exercise is important. Keep your body moving because you're gonna have a lot of energy. You're gonna need to burn some off. So physical exercise is great. You know, whether that's running a few miles, going to the gym, lifting weights. I like to lift weights. I also like to ride my bike around. So that's how I get my exercise. So that's the more external, superficial approach to exercise, which is great. It's important. But let's talk about internal exercise. Exercising your chi, exercising your energy. This is extremely important with semen retention because, again, the most common issue men run into is their energy becomes stagnant. Their sexual energy becomes stagnant, gets stuck in their balls. You want to keep your energy circulating. This is why I teach qigong practices in my course. Qigong, breathwork, meditation, keep that energy moving. Testicle breathing, you said that's a great practice. I would do that every day. I just released a video on YouTube, how to do testicle breathing, so check it out. How is it that semen retention affects one's presence and that others take notice? Because you have a stronger charge of energy. You know, and you know, again, on the physical, superficial level, your hormones change. Testosterone increases, androsterone increases, which is the pheromones that you put out, which is, you know, it's the attraction pheromone. So you're putting out more pheromones. People just kind of detect that and they feel more attracted to you subconsciously. So that's on a physical, chemical level, but energetically, you're building this powerful charge of masculine energy. You're increasing your polarity. You have this yang charge, expands your energy field out. Your presence grows. People pick up on it because you're just, the difference between someone in a depleted state and someone in a state of energetic abundance, they're just exuding this energetic charge. You just feel that. And that's what happens when you do semen retention. What exercises should I be doing in order to last longer? You're part of the course, by the way. So you get into the direct sexual energy exercises later in the course, but to last longer, relaxation and deep breathing. These are the two easiest ways to start lasting longer in bed. And these things are very linked. Our breath and our state of tension in the body. Most men are very tense in their bodies, especially in the pelvic floor. Pelvic floor tension is one of the main causes of premature ejaculation. So where you're constantly, you'll notice like if your penis is being stimulated and you have this involuntary contraction in response to that, that means you have these hypertension habits linked to sexual stimulation. So that's something you need to overcome, which is what I get into in my course. But deep breathing is a helpful way, and just general relaxation, which is what qigong really helps with as well. So basically by practicing relaxing your pelvic floor and breathing deeply, that right away is going to help you start lasting longer. Yeah, I've seen David Icke stuff. 1 second here. What do you think of smoking marijuana and its effects during semen retention? Good question. I used to smoke weed every day, and I no longer do because so this is the thing with psychoactive substances. It's kind of a trade. You get something, but you give something as well. They burn up your gene, your vital essence, your physical essence. And for me, I noticed once I started doing these practices that I felt really depressed after smoking weed. Like I felt great when I was on it, but the next day I just felt like depressed and drained. It's like, ugh, like, okay, clearly I'm losing something from this. And again, this is what they do. Any psychoactive substance, whether it's coffee, THC, psilocybin, whatever, you burn up jing to get into these high spiritual states. And, sometimes it's worth it. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? If you're doing these things every day, it's definitely not beneficial for you. But sometimes there's a bit of a trade. For example, you take ayahuasca, you take some magic mushrooms, you may have a life-changing, insightful experience. That's what happened to me, right? But you burned up some of your genes. So maybe it was worth it to get that insight. But when you start to rely on these external things, you're giving away your own power. It's not you that's achieving these states, it's the plant, right? And so it's not a true internal accomplishment, basically. And a lot of people start to really obsess and almost like worship these entheogens and psychoactive substances. You start to rely on them. This happened to me. I had my first experience with magic mushrooms, and I was like, wow. So if I just take these things, these drugs, then I can like connect with the universe and see God and like everything's good. But eventually I realized that wasn't a sustainable path. It led me into a lot of dark places. And it was like, that's one of the reasons I got into internal practices, meditation, yoga, qigong, Taoist practices, because I could get to the same states without having to burn up my jing, without losing energy. And it's a much more sustainable path because the drugs wear off, then you feel, you get that high, then you're in that low, right? And this is why I love internal practice. I get really, really high and I don't lose energy. Jing, J-I-N-G, it's a Chinese term. It's basically your vital essence. It's the most dense form of energy before it steps down into physical matter. This is what's creating our body. Jing, yeah. So the frequencies of energy, Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing is, again, the more dense physical energy. So it's like water. It has different forms. It's all the same thing, but it's different forms. Water can be ice. That would be like the Jing. It's more of a fixed form. It can be just the liquid state of water. That's Qi, the subtle energy that's flowing through the channels of the body. Or it can be Shen, which would be like the steam. That's that ethereal spiritual energy. So yeah. So I love the Taoist practice. They really mapped all this stuff out in a very practical way. What do I think about Wim Hof technique of breathing? I think it's great. It's really great. It's great for your health, balances your hormonal system. It's a great practice. It's not as deep. It's not really like deeply energetic, like you want to get to deep like internal energy stuff. It has its limitations, but for overall health maintenance, it's great. Grab a drink of water. Okay, what's the best way to get the energy to climb the spine to increase the spiritual perceptions? So bringing the rising up of the energy. See, here's the difference between some approaches. Typically the yogic approach is like, as soon as you can, get that energy up into the crown, open the third eye, just as soon as you can, blast off into space, basically. The problem with this is that you lack a certain foundation, right? this is another reason I really love the Taoist practices. Is they say if you want to build a structure, you have to build a foundation first. You don't build your building from the top down. That's what a lot of these yoga paths do, is like just go straight up to the crown first. It's unsustainable. You burn out. You can't sustain those high spiritual states. The Taoist practices say to build your lower center first. You build the lower dantian. Lower dantian is this energy center in the belly. It's like your energetic battery. Now you have a space to digest and store qi. You have a ground. And then you start to slowly build up. You build the middle dantian, the heart center. So you're constantly building this foundation so that once you get up to the higher centers, you don't just blast off and then cut your cord and get lost and crash back down to earth like so many people do in their spiritual paths. You have a sustainable ground structured practice. So I know that it was a long answer to a simple question, but basically don't focus so much on bringing your energy up. Focus on a system that cultivates in a harmonious way. But I will say working with the microcosmic orbit is a very balanced way of doing that, because you do bring the chi up the spine, but you bring it back down the front of the body to create a loop to recycle that energy. It's a yin yang balance. How do you know when you are preserving and building your chi? Well, you start to feel it. I do qigong practice. I feel it. You feel the chi. You start to feel it flowing through your body. It becomes very tangible, especially the lower dantian. You start to cultivate it. It literally feels like this bubbling cooking stove. The Taoist alchemical classics, they refer to it as the cauldron, this cauldron space, because it literally starts to bubble and cook. So real internal energy practices, you feel it. You feel the chi. It's very, very tangible. A lot of people are teaching, they call it internal energy practices, but they're really just waving their arms around, imagining things. There is a difference. And that's why I'm starting my Immortal Energy Arts school, to really teach this stuff with a good foundation, so you really get that chi cultivating, basically. Because I studied with a lot of systems, and a lot of them were, we could say, less than stellar. But yeah, a lot of people's teaching this stuff, but not a lot of people are teaching it well, I would say. Can I get into some detail about qigong? Yeah, so qigong, a very broad term. It was actually a term created in the early 1900s, describing Taoist energetic practices, ancient Chinese energetic practices. The original name they had for it was Dao Yin and Yang Shen. Yang Shen means preserving life preserving practices. But a lot of qigong practices, so qi, prana, it's life force, it's subtle energy, subtle breath is one of the definitions of it. It's the force that flows through everything, it animates us. So qigong, gong as in kung fu, it's a skill, it's a discipline that is attained over a period of training, regular training. So qigong is the skill or discipline attained in working with the life force, cultivating the life force. And qigong practice, there's many, many, many different forms. Like I said, the quality will vary, depending who you're studying with. But real qigong practice is about opening the energy meridians of the body. There's all these rivers of qi flowing through the body. That's what acupuncturists are manipulating with their needles. But when you do qigong, you do this yourself. And so you start to build your qi. Often you're using movements, you're moving your body in a certain way, but you have to stay very, very relaxed. Because if you move with muscular tension, it blocks the chi and you're just moving your arms around. There's many health benefits to it, because obviously, as we age, as we grow, the body starts to, as we experience traumas, we close ourselves off, we tense up, we close our energy channels to kind of shut down the intensity of life. And it's become blockages. These eventually manifest as disease and illness, depression, negative emotions, things like that. So qigong helps to open these pathways back up, improving circulation, and the blood follows the qi. The classics say, so it improves your circulation, improves your health, your sense of balance. You get into that state, it's like when you're a child, you have this abundance of energy, your channels are wide open. Again, you're not rigid, you're not stuck in certain belief systems. You're very open and fluid, and that's what cultivating your qi through qigong allows you to do. So absolutely incredible practice. I do it every single day and have for the past 6 or 7 years. It's amazing. I'm addicted. So I've got a really great playlist on my YouTube of some different qigong practices. So check that out. Book recommendations to build chi, harness essence. Books can be really hit or miss on this stuff, but one that got me started, which I really love, is called The Way of Energy. It's Qigong, The Way of Energy by Lam Kam Chuen, Chinese guy. It's on Zhanzhuang, which is a traditional Qigong form where you stand in these postures, hold these energizing postures, connect with the earth energy, and build the chi of the body. It's absolutely incredible practice. So that's a good book to start with. Will we have the opportunity for a live retreat training with you in the future? Definitely. I was going to do some live events this year, but obviously things got shut down a little bit. So once, things are open back up, once all this shitstorm clears, I would love to do some live events. Daniel Reed has some good stuff, but his Qigong, it's okay. It's more kind of the physical, like stretching, opening joints kind of stuff, which is good. But like if you want to really build some chi, that's going to be very limiting. Like I mentioned, the Way of Energy books. So that's as far as books go, it's going to be a good starting point. Techniques to increase our chi energy, daily practice. Do Qigong. Check out my Qigong playlist. Also, I have a video called, it's called Semen Retention, #1 Technique to Build Energy. It's a Dantian building practice. It's phenomenal. If you do this every day, you're going to start feeling your Dantian. Do I do Kegels in public? I certainly have. I'm kind of changing up my pelvic floor routine, but yeah, I mean, no one can see that you're doing Kegels. It's a pretty subtle thing to do. So that's the thing about pelvic floor exercise. You can do it anytime, anywhere. Would relaxing your mind cause your body to relax during sex? Definitely. There's a direct relationship between the body and the mind. When the mind becomes tense, your body becomes tense. And vice versa, when you tense your body, your mind also starts to become tense. So, working with one or the other is going to affect the whole system. Lee Holden, yeah, Lee Holden's great. The microcosmic orbit is just intention from the front to back, front downward, back upward. Well, there's many different methods. First of all, working with the microcosmic orbit, I highly recommend you first work with the lower dantian, because you need a reservoir of chi to really get that orbit moving. You'll have some success just working with it, but if you first build your lower dantian, again, the video I just mentioned on my YouTube channel, #1 technique to build energy. Now, once you start to feel the dantian tangibly, it gives you a much better reference point. First of all, you have the chi to start moving through your system. And second of all, you know what to look for, you know what the sensation's like. So when you really get the microcosmic orbit going, it's quite tangible. You feel it. It's like an electrical current. No, I've never done a coconut water fast. I've noticed that sometimes I wear a crystal around my neck, wondering if I do it for metaphysical benefits. Is there any specific one I recommend for semen retention? Yeah, I love crystals, and I wear a necklace. I think, where's my neck? Oh yeah, here it is. I've been wearing this a lot. This is I'm taking a break from it. It's very energizing. This is the Tetra from Jason Quidd. It's ancient Egyptian technology. Metal. This one's just metal, but it generates an energy field. But some crystals I like to work with. Amethyst is amazing. Amethyst is probably my favorite. This isn't quite amethyst, but it's an ametrine, which is citrine and amethyst. Smoky quartz, very grounding. Some of my go-tos. Shungite. Shungite's a great one to carry with you. Blocks EMF radiation. It transmutes lower energies. So yeah, I'm a crystal hippie for sure. David Data, yeah, I'm familiar with this stuff. I've read some of his books. I have insomnia while on semen retention. Do you have any advice? Could be, I mean, again, I can't give medical advice, and it's difficult for me to know exactly what's causing your insomnia, but some recommendations I have for you. It could be an excess of yang in the body, so increase your yin by taking more, stillness time, relaxation time, spend time in the water, spend time with water, spend time on the earth, connect to that yin element, or stillness meditation, cooling foods. Completely cut out screens, electronic screens, at least a few hours before going to sleep. I personally cannot sleep if I'm looking at a screen within 2 to 3 hours before going to bed. So I turn my phone off at, a few hours before I go to bed. And if you have to look at your screen, use blue light glasses to block that blue light, which completely messes with your hormones, especially at night. So cut out screen time, avoid stimulating activities, take some time to relax and unwind. You can do some, I like to do a little bit of yoga, a little bit of stretching before bed, do some breathing exercises, kind of calm down, go for a walk. It's really about letting go of the day and being able to go to sleep, because the most common cause of insomnia is too much chi in the head, too much energy up in your head. You're still thinking, you haven't quite let go of things from the day, you haven't come to completion, so you're still problem solving, right? And semen retention can increase this if you don't know how to ground and balance that energy. So basically, let yourself wind down before going to bed. Avoid eating, close to bedtime. Also, here, triple heater sound. So you lift your hands up, bring them in front of your face, and you exhale with a he sound. The triple heater is a system that regulates, it kind of clears out heat from the head and torso, in Chinese medicine. So exhale with that he sound. Feel like your body's an empty tube. You're clearing through it, and that helps clear some of that excess yang qi out of your head. So yeah. All right, guys, I got to run here in a minute, but answer a couple more questions. How to use the amethyst. So crystals, you meditate with them, carry them around, kind of tune into them. They're living beings. They're alive. They're millions of years old. They're very wise. They're evolved minerals, basically, right? The crystals. Computers are made out of crystals, quartz crystals. They hold information. They hold phenomenal amounts of information. So just hang out with them. During the day, when should one put their tongue to the palate? Whatever you want. Mine naturally sits up there pretty much 24/7, because I started doing that for my qigong practice, and it just became normal for me. It's actually hard for me to get my tongue not to be on my palate during the day. How do you explain to a partner about being multi-orgasmic? Just tell them in whatever way is most graceful. For me, my current partner, we've been together for a few years, and when we were, I waited till we were first, getting intimate, and I was like, hey, by the way, I typically don't ejaculate during sex. I practice non-ejaculatory. I still have orgasm, I still have pleasure, but I choose not to ejaculate. It's my own choice, it's part of my practice and stuff. So, be graceful, but be, straight up with it. Do I recommend people give up fast food on semen retention or just drastically cut back? There's really no benefit to eating fast food. It's just another drug. So, if you really have to have it, whatever. But personally, I don't do fast food. So it's the more impulseful kind of things you have in your life, then the more likely you are to kind of give into other impulses. So it's all about building your willpower, being healthy, strengthening your mind, strengthening your body. Obviously, have some fun in your life, whatever. It's not going to kill you to eat fast food every now and then. But personally, I don't do it. So. All right, guys, I'm jumping off. Yes, I did cover marijuana semen retention. Basically, don't do it frequently. It burns up your gene to fuel these higher states, and kind of causes this addictive reliance on an external thing versus being able to cultivate that yourself. You missed the crystal talk. How does one connect to the crystals? Carry them with you, meditate with them, just kind of connect to them. You can program them with intentions. Again, crystals hold programs. Computer chips are crystals. They hold information. You can program them to go to work for you. All right, guys. Take it easy. I will see you guys next week.